Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've uploaded any video on this channel. Uh, there have been a lot of things that have been happening, a lot of updates to give you all. So essentially, what I'll do in this video is I'll just talk about some of my life updates and share some experiences that I've gone through. And there's no particular agenda set for this video, and nothing is scripted. It's just me talking to you all, right? So the first big update from my life is that I have now officially dropped out of college. I've left college and I'm going to be pursuing self learning and working at startups, gaining experiences. That's what my plan is. So, in fact, let's do this, right? I'll just give two more updates and I'll talk about the whole experience of dropping out, what it's been like, right? So it's been 6 months, somewhere in October, that I took this decision, and since then I've been working at startups. I've been freelancing. In fact, I worked at a startup for 6 months as a content writer. I helped them design. So it was basically a education portal, online education portal that was going to be launched, and I was writing and designing the courses. So it involved content writing, a little bit of direction, storytelling, all that stuff, right? And then I got promoted in that startup from the content writer to a social media manager for the same education platform. But as things work in a startup, it was not very profitable. So the company decided to give it a break for some time. That worked, and so that's when I left that startup. So now, right? So now what am I doing? So I'm still working on one or two freelance projects, but here's a big update, right? I'll be joining a new startup from tomorrow itself. So today is 12th of April, tomorrow is 13th April, right? I'll be joining a new startup, and to be honest, this is like ever since this was launched, the startup was launched, it was one of my dreams to actually get in there. Um, because the problem that the startup is solving is is something that I really believe in, and that's the reason I dropped out of college, right? Um, so you might have guessed it, yes, it's an edtech startup called Growth School. I'm sure most of you must know it, but if you don't know, Growth School is a platform where you get to learn from the top 1% in the industry. Don't worry, this is not a sponsored video, but now as I'm part of the startup, I won't shy away from promoting it, right? So here's the thing about Growth School, right? Very rapidly growing startup in the tech space, in the upskilling space, and it's been backed by all the major people right now in the startup ecosystem. Well, it's Kunal Shah of Cred, it's Ankur Wariku, it's Nikhil Kamath of Zero Dha, right? I mean, Raj Hamani, Varun Duggi, anybody, right? You can. They have more than 80 plus angel investors investing in them. In January, they raised capital of $5 million from Sequoia Capital, Owl Ventures, etc. So yeah, that's it. That is where I'll be joining in from tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that. I'll be joining in as an operations intern. So let's see how that goes, right? But coming back to me dropping out, the whole experience, right? So I'll begin with why. First place, and why did I drop out? So here's the thing, right? I was in college. I was in VIT Vellore pursuing computer science and engineering, and I got there somehow. It's a good college, right? Not the level of the IITs, the pits, but better than most of the engineering colleges. Uh, it was COVID time, so actually I've never been to college, right? Any college till now, and whatever was happening online. So I attended the college first year online, and that's where I realized. Right? I think almost every engineering student realizes mostly in the first year itself it doesn't make sense, right? See, because of the pandemic, before joining the college, I had been exposed to the internet, right? I knew how things are working outside, right? Outside the college ecosystem, how the startups are working, how's the business space taking place, how is freelancing happening. I was exposed to all of that. Then when I sat in college, whatever was being taught, so foolish assignments that we were doing, realized it was not making sense. And when I thought about it, I asked myself, right, is it seriously something that I want to do for 4 years, knowing that it is not going to work out, like it's not going to help me actually to a large extent in my career. I'm talking specifically about computer science, not talking about other branches. If it's mechanical or something, see, you need labs, you need an infrastructure, but when it comes to computer science, you just need a laptop, right? The computer labs there, like the labs there also have computers, so it's nothing special there. And it was very clear for me in the first half year of the college, this is not something that I'm going to do, waste my time in. So I'd taken this decision internally within the first 3 months of my first year, right? But I knew this was going to be a difficult task, not dropping out of college, but convincing my parents. Like, that's the most difficult part, right? So, okay, so what I'll talk about going ahead is, it will be really helpful for someone who is planning to drop out, who's confused, or just thinking about this. Uh, I'm not giving any advice or something like that, but I'll share my experiences. Maybe this might help, not help. I don't know. I'm not promoting any decision here. It's just my experience. It has gone very well so far. So I felt I should be making a video about this. So let's see. Okay. Coming to my parents, I knew this. See, no parent is like, you can't just wake up one day and tell your parents that I'm leaving college and they'll allow you, right? That's the ideal case scenario, but that will never happen. I knew that. So I was prepared for 3 to 4 attempts that I'll require to convince them. So it took a period of 6 months, right? So this is how I convinced them. It took me 6 months, 4 attempts to to convince them, say 80-85%, right? I still wasn't able to convince them to like 100%, and they're still not convinced 100%, but they're now happy with my decision, supporting it. And so here's how I convinced my parents, right? First attempt. Here's the first attempt, right? I I wanted to talk to them separately, right? So first attempt was with my father, right? He was done with his dinner. Called him inside. So I said, Papa, I like want to थोड़ी बात करनी है. आ जाओ. Here's what I told him. I'm not at all enjoying college. It's not making sense. Right? I don't know what I'm doing here. So I want to drop out of college. Right? I want to leave college. I'll do online courses, I'll get certifications, I'll work at startups because it's my dream, right? I want to work at startups. I don't want to work at those big organizations. And I was like, this is how I was explaining it, right? Because I want to work at startups. Startups these days don't require your degrees, neither your resume, right? There's this new concept of proof of work, right? If, like, for example, you are a designer, right? And if you have a portfolio of some images that you have designed or whatever that you have designed, that is what matters for the startup. Like, you need to show your skills, that you need to show that you have skills. It doesn't matter if you have done 100 certifications. So I tried explaining this to him. I knew it wasn't going to work. So his reaction was, yeah, I get what you're saying, but no, I won't allow you to drop out of college. And that's fair enough, right? I expected that. But as I said, you know, I knew this is going to take multiple attempts. What I did essentially, this is a very important point that everybody needs to understand. You need to understand if you're trying to do something similar, is collect data, right? Whenever you're talking to them about this, see what their arguments are. Okay, why are they against a decision? This is what I did. I said, okay, I get, but why do you think? Why are you against the decision? get data, note down those points, whether in your mind or wherever, write down those points. You go, Papa, okay, yeah, we'll talk about this later. For now, I continue college. Okay, what I did, I got those data points and went back, did my research to collect arguments against those points that he had, which were fair enough, and then made another story. Then went to my mother, the same approach. Yeah, whatever problems he had with my decision, I collected that data. Same, did some research. If it wasn't making sense, made up a good story, true story. Right? So made up a story with data points, etc. The third attempt, right, which was I think around fourth or fifth, I think it was a fifth month. I sat both of them down in front of me. Like, see, this was your argument. This was your argument. Here is my point against that. And yeah, I really want to do this. I'm sure I've done my research and I think I can make it work. All that stuff. So the third time, they were actually very happy with the story, right? I must tell you. But like what you're telling, they were like, whatever you are saying might be making sense, right? But no, dropping out of college is a big decision. That is not how it will work. I was prepared for that as well. I knew what I just wanted to see there was, are they actually getting my story, right? Getting my point of view. And they agreed, to be honest, with most of my points. So the next step, I knew I had to show them something tangible, right? Because right now I was just doing a lot of talking, right? Like after I drop out, I'll do this, I'll do that. I thought I have to show them something tangible. So this is what I did. I applied at multiple startups. I think almost 8 to 10. I gave all the interviews. One of them, like I was applying as an intern back then, right? But one of them, okay, I was applying as an intern at all of those startups. But one of them, they liked my profile, they liked what I was doing. They offered me a full time role as an employee, not as an intern at the startup, right? So it's like, yeah, I'm happy. Like that's really nice, and I just went with that offer, and I just went ahead with that offer. They were paying well enough, right, good enough for fresher. I got the offer letter within half the day, like in the evening, and this is what I did. Right, I should this was me going to my mom and my dad. This is the offer letter. Right, I have no degree. I haven't completed college. Just been my 1 year, and there is one startup that is ready to hire me as full time employee, not as an intern. Right, so I just told them, give me more, 6 months more. Right, I requested them. Right, give me 6 months more. I make sure I work hard. I'll do whatever I can. This, and it will convert in something better. Right, this is what I told them. I asked for 6 months. Right, I told them if things don't work out as I have planned, I go back to college. Right, I complete the college and no more excuses there. So of course they weren't happy. Like they were still not going to get convinced, but I think I brought the meter to 93-94%. But just give me this chance, right? They were sure that now I'm not going to listen anyway. They, okay, do whatever you want, right? So here after here after 6 months, right, I did well at the startup. Right? They liked what I was doing. Even got promoted once, but that's not the point. I've grown a lot in these 6 months, right? Personally, like I mean, I've learned so much. I'm not even like in the 1 year of college. Whatever I've learned, if you compare that with just 6 months at the startup, I mean, the difference is huge, right? And by the way, I've applied nothing that I learned in that 1 year of college here, right? It's totally been my self learning, whatever I've learned from online courses, learning while doing the task, There were so many tasks that I even wasn't qualified for, right? So what I was doing, but just while doing, figured out stuff, made mistakes, right? I had to do one project. Wow, like I worked on three projects while I was at the startup. The second project, maybe it was not up to the mark, so I had to do the whole, like I worked almost 1.5 months on that project to work again on that. So I mean, yes, I made mistakes. There were a lot of failures, but eventually I learned a lot, right? So basically, it was a really fun experience. And after 6 months, I quit at the startup, which is just last month, right? Till March, I worked there. Here I am after 6 months, got an opportunity to be a part of the growth school team, and again, like, I'm really grateful for that. Excited to join them. What else? What else? Okay. So, if you are someone who's trying to drop out or is even thinking about it, here are some things. See, now, all that I've told you, right? You might think, oh, dropping out is a great thing, right? Maybe I should even try that. Steve Jobs did it. Bill Gates was a dropout. Mark Zuckerberg was a dropout. So let's drop out. Like we'll create billion-dollar companies. Here's what I want to tell you, right? I'm not here to belittle your ambitions or something like that. But this is coming from a dropout, okay? And I'll tell you that's not the case. I'll be very honest here. There's something called as survivor bias, right? Which means that in the media and everywhere else, people like, the underdog stories, the great stories, of people who had nothing, who went from nothing to something great, like Steve Jobs. Because with all due respect to them, they worked really hard, they were very smart, whatever. But here's the thing, right? Not everyone who drops out is as successful as them, right? Even what I have done, I'll say, been lucky to get opportunities. I've been at the right place at the right time, right? But this might not be the case with everyone, right? Not everyone is coming here and talking about their failures, right? You can even ask, maybe you can go to dropouts, right? Like, how many dropouts have you actually spoken to? Speak to people who have failed at taking this, who have taken this decision, failed at whatever they wanted to do, and they have a lot of learnings to share, by the way, right? For me, luckily, I've been at the right place, the right time. Decisions have gone well, and I feel I can handle this. So that's why I'm going ahead with this decision, right? But that is not what you want. What you have to do, you have to you have to understand your own situation, and do some research, right? Here are some factors which you need to consider before dropping out. One is the worst case scenarios. The case of most of college dropouts, if you see, either they have done something really successful, something, say, like for Ishan Sharma, right, from Bits, he's created a business that's earning him a lot of money, right? There's some sort of, not exactly stability, but some source of income, something that he's doing that will provide him stability in the long term, which he's sure of, right? Or, see, if you want to be someone, say, a chartered accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, then you shouldn't drop out, right? The degree matters there a lot, right? You won't go to a doctor without a, say, medical association stamp or something like that. But when it comes to computers, right, whether it's developing a website, designing, coding, marketing, anything, certifications actually don't matter, right? If you can build a website, if you can show the client, the employer, the business that here's the thing, like, I can make this website even if I don't have a certificate, they don't have any problem for hiring you. Or if you're doing freelancing, in that case, right, you don't need a degree there. But as I told you, CAs, lawyers, etc., they need a degree. So you guys have no option of dropping out. Um, Another person who should not drop out, in my opinion, right, is someone on whom his family is going to be dependent in the short term. Then this will be a very big risk for you, right? Because see, I'm not denying, right? If you want to get into stable companies, startups are not at all stable. They're highly volatile, right? But when you compare that to some big organizations, yes, they require degrees till date, and they will get a certain sense of stability, stable income, security, everything, right? And that matters when you are coming from a family that is going to be dependent on you for, say, income, at least for some years, right? So, not saying don't do it if you want to, but your worst case scenario is going to be much worse. You should wait, right? You should not be taking such a big risk, right? Because in my case, the worst case scenario, like whatever consequences, right? For example, if nothing worked out, right? If I would have been bankrupt or something like that, it would have been me who would have faced the consequences, not my family, because they had a certain sense of stability and security. So that is the reason I thought it's a good time to take risks. Because here's how the general advice goes, right? Take a degree, right? Earn some money, then you all set to take risks. But here's what I think, right? Here's how I think. By the time I do all that, by the time I complete college, a stable job or something like that, I'll be 27, 28, or 25, whatever, right? And that is most likely the time when there will be someone, right, who's dependent, right? I might have a family, whatever it is, right? And the risk, the kind of risk that I can take right now is not what I will be able to do, right, in the future, right? If I have to take big risks with my career, especially, it has to be right now. So that's the reason I pushed along. Like I went with this decision. Okay, now I've talked about all the pros, right? I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. We have freedom of time, whatever. Let's talk about cons, or not exactly cons, but some aspects that not many people will speak about in front of camera. Is some of the problems that you might face when you take such a decision, right? First thing, a lot of criticism, right? A lot of doubts, a lot of people doubting you, even the people you trust, right? Even the people you love, at least for some time, all the people around you will be doubters, right? And it makes sense. They have not been exposed to the information, but they don't have the kind of belief you have in something. So whether it's your friends, it's a family, or of course everybody else, relatives, etc., everybody will show their doubts. They maybe criticize your decisions. You might get to hear that, oh, you're being arrogant, right? You're just 20, so what experience do you have of this world? We have seen this world. We have been living for XYZ years, right? You're just stupid. You might get to hear all this, and if you are someone who can, you know, handle all this, or let's say if your self belief or conviction is greater than all the things, go ahead with the decision, right? Just forget about the people around you. That's what I did. I knew what I was doing. And I had a certain sense of confidence in my abilities and what I'm going to do, a certain sense of plan. So, yes, for some time it was difficult, but eventually, right, forget about others, forget about friends, forget about relatives, right? The people who actually care about you, right? Your parents, your family, right? Once they start seeing that you are doing something, right, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, there is certain source of income that's coming in, I'm taking care of my expenses, they're just fine with that. Like they're more than happy than that, right? They, before I was dropping out, they're just like, will I be comfortable? Do I know what I'm doing? These were the doubts, and these are fair enough, right? No, nobody's. I'm not saying those are wrong, but what I'm saying is, if what you're doing is right, if what you're doing is something that you believe in, eventually people around you will accept you, or like will accept this decision, and you just have to have that patience, right? That conviction to go through that. um Second thing is, there is a lot of chance that you might get lonely, right? Now what I mean by lonely, right? See, here's the thing. Unless your whole group of friends, or everybody drops out, that's a different thing. But if you're the only one from your friend group or friend circle, whatever, drops out, your growth rate and your friends ka growth rate, they might be still in college, right? It's going to differ a lot. So the problems that they are facing, the problems you face, they're going to differ a lot. Except for example, right? Most of the people in college, this is what I have experienced, right? The friends, the people I had in my circle, they're discussing, like, next party कहाँ करनी है, right? ये weekend पे कहाँ जाना है, and like all sort of stuff, like, right? But my problems were, okay, like, say, this is the amount of money that's coming in. How should I be investing? Should I be buying an insurance? Because premiums are low, right? The earlier you buy an insurance, the lesser the premiums you have to pay for a particular this thing. I'll make a separate video about that. But so basically, what I want to say is, your problems are different, right? So in conversations, you might not be able to relate to many of them. You might have to change your circle of friends. But if you're ready for that, and you have to be ready for that, like there's no option. Either like you need to change the circle of your friends, or you need friends who are understanding, right? Will understand, right? The reason that you're not replying to their messages, not picking up their calls, it's not that you've broken friendship or something. It's because you're genuinely busy, right? My friends, fortunately, two or three of them, and have like understood this, and like I have a very supportive group of friends, so like, nothing to worry about that. But I'm just saying, you might just face this as well. And to be honest, you learn how to stay alone. Like the society feeds this idea that you need someone to stay happy. You need a group of friends, you need a girlfriend, you need a boyfriend, you need a wife or whatever to stay happy. But it will actually, this experience will actually teach you to stay happy with yourself, right? This is what I feel. The person who can stay happy alone is the one who can have really fruitful relationships with other people, because then that is not transactional, right? It's not that I'm getting this from a particular person, so I want to be I want to be with this person, or something of that sort. It's just that it's not because you have to. Then what happens is, you build relationships not because you have to, but because you want to, right? And I think that's a better way to look at that. But yeah, so next thing, third thing that you must learn, right, or you will learn eventually, is knowing how to sell yourself. I'll be honest, even in the first startup that I applied, and here in growth school, the job role or the daily role that I have, I'm not at all qualified for that, right? The roles that I applied for, I was competing with, like, they had mentioned, right, the preference is people in fourth year of their college and something like that, and I had people from, like, who were from big companies who were competing for the intern role, right? So I was highly underqualified for that, no matter. But something that I've learned eventually in the last year is skill of selling myself, right? You have to put yourself out there, you have to create a good story, especially in the interview, in the questions that they ask. Yes, skills are important, but you should be able to sell those skills, right? Before selling your skills, you should be able to sell yourself. Why do you want to be a part of this company, right? How will you provide value to them? So, right, this is one thing you need to learn. Fourth thing that I have learned is, yes, similar to selling yourself, it's negotiation, right? Now, to be honest, 6 months, the 6 October version of me had was clueless about all of this, right? I didn't know how to speak to people, didn't know how to sell myself. Forget negotiation, right? For negotiating for salary. First job, like the first thing, I never negotiate, right? It's like whatever I'm getting, I'm fine. I just want to be in the startup ecosystem. Eventually, I realized that no, it's necessary, right? So, right in the fifth month, like when I was working at the startup, when I was switching roles, I asked for a negotiated a salary hike, and that worked out. So anyway, you need to learn that as well. Uh, and what else? What else? I think this is it. That this is all that I wanted to speak about dropping out. Uh, okay, so let's end this stream or in this video. All I want to say is that if you are someone who's looking to drop out or thinking of leaving college, you need to have a plan. Right? It's very important. You don't need to the exact मतलब A to Z तक पूरा रास्ता like पूरा पक्का पता होना जरूरी नहीं है, बट A to Z का थोड़ा बहुत आइडिया रहे, बीच में M कहाँ है पता होना चाहिए, F कहाँ है ये सब पता होना चाहिए, ठीक है? At least have a rough idea of what you're going to do, so that whenever you're talking about to your parents or even to yourself, forget about anybody else, at least you are sure what you're doing, right? At least to some extent, right? So have a plan, right? Just because everyone around is saying drop out kar le, like college is weird or something, don't do that, right? It has to be your decision. It has to be coming from inside. For me, it was coming from inside, right? I knew this wasn't working out, and I'm someone who likes to work independently. uh, that's how I have been for my whole, we'll say, like from after 8th standard, 9th standard. I've been to tuition classes, etc., but I've left a lot of them, right? Because I wanted to study on my own. I had my own pattern set, right? And I did fairly well in all my exams. So like that's not the point. But by the way, this is one funny thing that it's like some of my, I'm sure person might be seeing this video, like Ronit, you're dreaming too much. Come back to reality, right? That's not how reality works. Uh, so here's just a message for that person. If you're watching this video, is that stay busy finding your reality, and I'm busy creating my reality. That's all I want to say. And yeah, if you're taking a decision that not many people around agree with, all I want to say is just have that belief in yourself. There are many factors at work. It's not just hard work, it's not just smart work. Yes, there's some factor of luck, but you will never know before trying, right? Just don't let that uncertainty or what will happen stop you from taking risks, especially if you want to enter the startup ecosystem. Right now it is booming in India. This is the time you take risks and try your hand. Yes, you might fail, everybody might fail. I have a long way to go myself, right? I'm not saying कि पूरी तरह successful हो गया नहीं. This is just the start, right? a lot of I have many more things to do, but I felt that I'm qualified right now at least to talk about dropping out, how the experience is. That's why I made this video. And especially if you want to enter the Indian startup ecosystem, it's a great space to be right now, right? It's going to be businesses. It's going, like, if you look at any country, if India wants to be that superpower, that the story that is sold in every campaign, it's going to be startups, it's going to be the businesses that are going to create wealth, and it's eventually wealth that will bring about whatever sort of happiness you want, right? People might argue money does not bring happiness, or money is just, you know, no need to think about money, but that's not the case. So if you're someone who's thinking of something unconventional, if you want to take a decision but nobody else around you is look supporting you or does not believe in you, all I want to say is just have faith in yourself, and nobody else matters, right? Everybody out there, here's the thing that I have learned: everybody out there is out there for themselves. Nobody cares about the other person. All you have got to do is find people who are like-minded and do great things, right? Take risks and forget about what others think, right? Just be on your own, and like, all the best till the next video. I'm sure I'll come back, and I have some things, some announcements to make. I'll be making more content regularly on this channel from now on. So, yep, see you guys. Like, until the next time.